Hey, welcome back to Good Guardian Canine. This is the first video of a series of videos that I'll be sharing with you on the Hines American Bulldog, where Mr. Hines speaks on his dogs himself and shows his yard and shows a lot of his dogs. Some portions of the dogs actually hunting, catching hogs, and things like that. Keep in mind, a lot of the quality of these videos are not the best. They're converted from VHS recording. When these videos were actually done, there were no such thing as CDs or disc or anything like that. These were recorded on VHS video recording, and I've converted them from that exactly as the quality that they came with is exactly the same quality you're getting. So just try to ignore that and try to focus on the information at hand and just try to enjoy the dogs and learn as much as you can. And if you're enjoying these videos, please remember to drop your comments, drop me some information, let me know what you think of the videos, the content, if the information is helpful. That way I will know what types of videos to post. So this is the first of a few of the Hines American Bulldog videos I'll be dropping. I'm trying to keep them under 20 minutes. So anywhere between 15 to 20 minutes long. I'll try to keep them there. And if some of the videos are really long, then I'll divide them up into smaller portions, about the 20-minute or 15-minute mark, 20-minute max, until the series of the Hines American Bulldog videos are complete. And then I'll move to another dog that I have, another dog video that I have that are packed with historical information with a lot of dogs on them that are rare dogs that make up a lot of the pedigrees nowadays. And these are not just going to be American Bulldog videos alone. They're going to be quite a variety of videos of dogs that I actually own, and I'll share some of those, the history of that with you. It's anywhere between 40 to 35 years, 35 to 40 years years old are the information. So hopefully it's helping a lot of people and you're enjoying that. Anyway, take care. Thanks for watching. Remember to share the content, as I said, to like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Bulldog people. This is June the 17th, 1992. About 6 p.m. and the temperature is still 95 degrees down here in South Texas. Today I have got to more or less redo this entire video. We have sent out a rather startling amount of videos for $10 a piece for a video for this length, and the old master tape has just got so worn that things are sort of fuzzy, so I thought we'd have to redo it. We normally bring this video up to date at least once a month on the end to stay up to date with the puppies and other dogs that are for sale, but the whole thing is fuzzy, and so I'm going to have to redo for now. I'm going to start this video as usual by telling you people that you knowledgeable Bulldog men, that probably one person, if one person out of 10 sees this video that really knows the breed, knows the bloodlines, knows the different strains, that'd be a lot. The biggest part of our clientele is people who want a companion dog and a guard dog who are not familiar with the American Bulldog. So if you knowledgeable people will simply bear with me for a little bit while I educate the dudes, I think it's to all of our benefit. Basically, the American Bulldog had his beginning as the old bull baiting dog in England, back before America was ever colonized. The sport of bull baiting, which was a cruel sport and hard on the bull and the dogs both, was widely practiced in England, and these were the dogs that did it, or the ancestors of these dogs did it. Bull baiting, incidentally, was outlawed in 1833, I believe, in England. And when bull baiting was outlawed, this dog was crossed with the now extinct game white terrier for the purpose of dog fighting, and that was the forerunner of the pit bull. A number of people have asked me if there's any pit bull in an American bull, and the answer is no, there's not supposed to be, though there's certain instances it's been sneaked in the Midwest, the Chicago area particularly, but there's not supposed to be. The American bull is actually the ancestor of the pit bull, instead of the other way around. At any rate, when America was in the process of colonization, there were a number of these dogs brought by the colonists to America, principally in the southern states. And there they found use as a farm utility dog, a guard against predators, both human and animal, and as a catch dog to capture the hogs and to round up the cattle that roam more or less semi-wild in the woods. A thing that still happens in the hinterlands of the South today. They still use these dogs to catch hogs with today. It has been a little known breed since its main use was as a farm utility dog. Unfortunately, the public has found it now, and they'll probably succeed in running it in a few more years, so a few of us will try to keep from helping them do this. Basically, in the modern American Bulldog, there are three main bloodlines or strains, and a number of subdivisions within these strains. But of the three strains, I'll first mention the Johnson strain from Mr. Johnson down in Rome, Georgia, or near Rome, Georgia. This is the largest strain of these dogs. These dogs frequently weigh 125, 130 pounds. They are not to my taste in as much as they are too loosely built and too awkward and lacking in drive to do the things that I want a dog to do. But for the person who is looking for extreme size, well, that's where you can find it, with the Johnson dog. The second strain I'll mention is, for a catchword, painter dogs. Painter and Margentina and Tappy and 50 other people like them raised these dogs in the Chicago area and sold them all through the Midwest, principally as dog fighting dogs. Not that they could whip a match-grade pit bull, but that they were, in fact, a little bit of pit bull was mixed into them from time to time, or quite a lot of it. And the breed was at one time inbred and inbred purely for the sake of gaining more proficiency as a dog fighter. They did not care if they'd run from a man as long as they'd fight a dog. And they did quite a good job of fighting other dogs, and they also did a good job of inbreeding them into the ground to crooked jaws and inverted eyelids and dysplastic hips and all the rest of it. A few people have tried to take the painter strain and have done fairly well with outcrossing the painter strain back to the old original Scott blood, and they've made quite an improvement in the dogs. They remain highly dog aggressive. The third major strain, the third strain, and a strain that I have chosen to specialize in, known as the old-time Alan Scott dogs. Now, Alan Scott was old man Alan Scott's long dead. He was a plantation man in the Old South. He was a man with money enough to afford good dogs, and he liked good bulldogs, and he could afford to have them. He was also a man that worked his dogs, and a man that was impatient with a dog that wouldn't work. Now, his dogs were hog dogs and cow dogs, and he usually had 2 or 3 chances to go to work, and if he didn't go to work, he buried them behind the chicken house. This was a man that meant work or else. He was hard on the dogs, but after about 50 generations, he developed some very good working dogs, in as much as all the culls had been disposed of. There also was another result of that. I have incidentally chosen, always when I can, to bring my young brood bitches out of a hog catching strain of dogs, working hog dogs, for the simple reason that I have found that a working hog dog has got to be faster on his feet. He's got to be courageous, or he wouldn't catch the hog in the first place. He's got to be obedient, or the old man will kill him if he ain't. And in generally speaking, he's a vastly superior animal to the one who, for the last 20 generations, has done nothing but stand behind a fence and bark at an intruder. I can get a Cocker Spaniel to do that. There's no test that I know of for nerve, quickness, obedience, intelligence, and all the rest of it that will match up with these working farm dogs of the South. Hence, I've always been much better satisfied with young brood bitches out of this strain. We've never had a bad hip to replace out of a country bitch, because if one of those dogs is a step slow, the hog is going to kill him. He don't have to be dysplastic. All he's got to be is a little bit slow, and he won't live to have any babies. Video, you are going to see close to half an hour of catching big bad wild hogs. Some of these hogs weigh 350 and 400 pounds. They are trophy hogs. The bitch that's the star of this video, I have on the yard Snowbird. You'll see Snowbird in a minute. In fact, I now have a litter of puppies out of Snowbird. It's 3 months old, out of her and Country Boy. And for 3 years, Snowbird worked for this, or belonged to this trophy hunting outfit, who was not interested in a hog if he wasn't big enough and rough enough and big enough in the tushes to put his head on the library wall. And it's rather remarkable that she lived through 3 years of that. I would not have the dog today if she hadn't broke her fangs off. Finally, the shaking and the jerking, and she broke her fangs off and couldn't hold the hog anymore, and I was able to buy her, much to my gratification. That the sight of these dogs handling these hogs will serve to illustrate what I mean to you about the fact that to live at that game, it's a very rough and dangerous game, and they've got to be an athlete and a smart dog and a courageous dog to make it. And this is the kind of dogs that I like to breed from. It's as simple as that. I'm not even particularly interested in Scott-bred dogs who have been for 10 or 12 generations, as they have been mainly in the northeast of Alabama, as yard dogs. As I say, a yard dog undergoes no particular testing, and I really prefer the old hog dog strains. I think they're far superior. And this is my preference in breeding these dogs. Now, one other remark here that I think is called for at this time. You are going not only to see these dogs catching wild hogs, you are going to see all my breeding stock under courage test fighting off a man. First, this is done in a particular manner because all too often in shoots and trials and otherwise I've seen a dog fight a sleeve, bite a man on the sleeve and do a fine job of fighting the sleeve, and then the man throws the sleeve down, the dog rears up on him and says, pet me, rub my ears. The dog has obviously been trained to consider the sleeve a game. He started out with a sack as a game, and he graduated to a sleeve, and it's all a game. Had this dog thought that he was in any real danger, he would not be rearing up on that man's chest a minute later. So the mere fact of seeing a dog on a sleeve does not convince me he's a brave dog. Now, brave dogs do bite sleeves, but all dogs that bite sleeves aren't necessarily brave dogs. What I am going to show you is a bare man with no sleeve, no sack, no nothing, going into the dog and seeing if the dog has the guts to come out and face him. We do not like to keep a dog on this place that won't go out on his chain and face a man. Then, after we have established the fact that the dog is willing to fight this man, and he is a good agitator, he knows how to look so sneaky he makes me want to bite him. So when the dog has proven that he will fight the man, then the man puts on the sleeve or takes a rolled up burlap and fights the dog, and we see if the dog has the guts to put his money where his mouth is. Lest you get the wrong impression from watching these dogs fight this agitator, I have to state to you that these dogs are under stress, they are under attack, they are under harassment when they're doing this. Actually, basically speaking, this is a very loving, gentle breed to their own people. If they're trained into it or raised that way, they will get hard on a stranger. But that's what a whole lot of you want them for, is protection dogs. The main person that wants one of my dogs, the main category of people, seems to be somebody that wants one that he is not too rough to live with his family, but won't back down from an intruder. And this is what I try to produce for you. And I try to stay away from the dog aggressive strains because I don't think that has any part in people protection. I want a man fighter, but I want a sensible man fighter. And this is what in actuality that I do try to produce. Got dogs on this place that will fight a man and never back down and never turn their eye or turn their head from him. They fight him until they died. But with me and with Norman, they're just as gentle and sweet as they can be. They want us to please stay with them all day and let them lick our face. They're very good with their own people. I have never known one that won't harm a child. The only difficulty you're likely to have with Bozo and Junior is that Bozo is not liable not to allow you to whip Junior in front of him. You're liable to have to tie Bozo up before you whip Junior. But then he's only looking out for his boy, and you can't really blame him for that. As far as the rest of this video is concerned, I'm going to have to go in the house and dub footage from older tapes for the simple reason I cannot go out here and agitate these dogs on a day like this, not unless I want to kill some dogs with heat stroke. Besides, it's no big deal. The dogs that you will see on the tape are the dogs that are still here, the breeders, the brood stock. And no attempt is made in this to show you these dogs representing them to be trained dogs or trained man fighters. In most cases, this was the second or third bite that the dog ever had that you're going to see. The idea was simply to see if the dog had the courage to make a decent breeder. We're not particularly interested in turning these dogs into real expert man fighters. We don't need to buy any trouble we don't already have on this place. Inasmuch as they're not being used for patrol guard or security work, why make them any worse than they already are? So no attempt is made to represent to you that these dogs are trained man fighters. You are looking, in every instance, what you're going to look at is a raw dog. I mean a raw dog that has no real experience, no real training at this, and just simply showing you a little basic courage. I'll show you a couple of my main bad dogs in every strain, just like in people. And there are good and ethical breeders in every strain. There are also a lot of people out there in this breed, as in any breed, who will be pleased to promise you a season ticket to J.C. Penney's if you'll only give them your money. What they'll give you may be something else. Best do a little checking. Alright, that's all the lecture for now. I'll probably inject a few basic comments during the video. Bear with me, knowledgeable people. I ain't trying to tell you your business. I'm going to dub in a bitch called Snowbird now. Some footage taken last October. I'm not videoing her today except in passing because she's showing up pretty pregnant to Country Boy and don't look her best. This bitch was a professional hog dog. Belonged to a trophy hunting business that takes out people who can afford it on hunts after trophy hogs. If he's not fit for a trophy, they don't hunt him. So these are big, rough hogs. For 3 years, this bitch survived this action, sometimes catching 4 or 5 hogs in a day. She's caught 500 bad hogs if she's caught one. These are not tame hogs turned loose in the woods now. These are wild hogs, often with Russian boar blood in them. There are people who take their bulldog to a hog catching contest, you know, on domestic hogs occasionally. And this bears about the same relation to Snowbird as a part-time Golden Gloves fighter does to a pro champion. And right behind Snowbird, we're going to put Country Boy, the dog she and Janie Reb are bred to, and then we'll go into the hog hunting. Yeah, my darling. Yes, you are. Alright, this is the star of that hog video you just watched. This is the bitch that took a long high dive at the second hog, and she took in slow motion, caught that second hog with the left ear. And this is the second dog that come across the water to catch the last dog. I think you'd have to agree she did the best job of any of them. A little comment. I'm not going to make this bitch fight a man on this video. I don't think this bitch has one thing to prove about her courage. I think the video that you just watched proves that adequately. With all due respect to the guys that fight the dogs, looking for gameness in the dog and so forth, I submit to you